Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and I'm Steve Gamache. We are checking out this time the Itto-Ryu hammered Shirogami, our white paper number 2 Nakiri, a 175mm knife. As I mentioned, these have a core steel of Shirogami or white paper number 2 reactive carbon steel. The heat treat's about 61 Rockwell on that core steel, and the construction is a reactive iron cladding over the top of that Shirogami number 2. And it's got a tsushime or hammered finish. You can see that very clearly there. And they've got a light kurouchi or blacksmith finish on top of that. So it's a really pretty knife, and you can easily see the core steel exposed at the edge with a kind of a kasumi finish on the grind of the blade. It's just a real pretty blade. The weight of this knife is about 6.1 ounces. It's got a little bit of heft to it, 172 grams. The blade length is fairly long for a Nakiri, which some people are really going to like that. 177mm on this. They're all going to vary just a little bit, about 7 inches. Overall length, about 12.6 for the whole knife. The thickness on this particular knife, and again, all these dimensions will vary a little bit knife to knife because they're handmade, but right above here, above the chin, back of the heel is about 4mm, but it also has kind of a continuous taper as it goes towards the front of the knife. And it gets fairly thin up towards the front of the knife. That's not really the tip, it's the top of the front. And the tip, of course, is down here. This has a rounded style tip on it versus a pointed tip. The blade height, I measure Nakiri's 2 places, back and middle. This one's just about identical, pretty darn close to identical, 53.5. So it's really flat, and it's got a pretty flat profile. The handle type is a basic, no frills, no nonsense, oval. They call it chestnut, but it's a dyed wood handle with a plastic resin ferrule. Nothing fancy. Actually quite serviceable in practice, although not definitely elegant, but does the job quite nicely. Handle circumference about 3 inches right here. It fits the knife just fine as far as proportions go. You've got plenty of blade height on this. You can see loads of board clearance there, no problem with that. The balance on this is a little bit far of a pinch grip because Nakiris have a lot of height here, so they're tip heavy compared to gyutos or a lot of other knives. So there you have the balance point, slightly in front of a pinch grip. Gives you a little bit of cutting power. Let's take a closer look at this blade. This line of knives, I am highly, highly impressed. I really don't recall having too many knives that perform as well as these do at their price point. I will put them up against knives easily 2, maybe 3 times the price of these knives as far as performance goes, and the fit and finish is actually excellent. So beautifully done. They're just highly crafted. You can tell they put a lot of time and effort in the craftsmanship on these, and it really shows. The spine is rounded. The choil into neck emoto is rounded. Very comfortable out of the box. There's nothing you have to do except sharpen these. The out-of-the-box edge, I'll give that maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. They need to be sharpened out of the box. They just really weren't that sharp. But very pretty knife, great performance. This thing absolutely flows through product. I'm going to say it does it as well as my Takeda Nakiri that I recently got, and I'll put it up against that one as far as just flow through product any day of the week. It is that good. Let's see. Let's back out a little bit here. We'll look at the profile and put it on our board. I think I'm going to end up keeping this Nakiri, and I found a nice piece of olive wood. I think I'm going to try my hand at a handle. But you can see this thing is pretty flat. It's just got enough curve to it to not be completely dead pool table flat, but it's pretty darn flat. So an awesome push cutter. Let's put it on our board and take a look. So you can get a little bit of a rock, of course, with that rounded tip if you wish to do that. And it just has a touch of belly to it. So fairly decent flat spot right in here. And you can kind of see that on the board. But this knife just you won't believe how easy this blows through onions, or having a cabbage just flowed right through that entire cut, having quartering cabbage. So I am super impressed with this knife. It's just, these are unbelievable amount of knife and performance for the dollars. It's just a crazy amount of knife for the money. So if you want a lot of performance, if you don't mind an all-reactive knife and you're looking for a lot of great performance, really nice looks, these are just awesome. So here you have the Itto-Ryu Hammered Shirogami #2 Nakiri 175mm knife.